Hello everyone, my name is Slade, I'll be your host, and welcome to Star Wars Did You Know? We had a dirtbag geneticist like you once. Yes, a mad Mando scientist. Liked experimenting with kids. He's been dust for millennia, but we still know what the name Demagol means. The irony is that it can mean either sculptor of flesh or butcher. So I reckon you two would have a lot of cozy chats about how to screw up living beings. Demagolka. A word that means one who commits atrocities, a real, living monster, a war criminal. A word originating from a notorious Mandalorian scientist, Demagol, known for his experiments on children and a figure of hate and dread in the Mando psyche. Born Antos Wirek, little is known of the early life of the Zabrak child who would become one of the most infamous Mandalorians of all time. Captured at a young age by Escalani slavers, he did what he had to survive, learning from his captors, and using their twisted, cruel surgeries to help them, and in so doing, ensure his own survival, but at the cost of his empathy, having no sympathy for those he helped torture under the Escalani. Shortly before the start of the Great Sith War, Antos Wirek was rescued by Mandalorians, who attacked the Escalani, and freed many of their slaves, including Wirek himself, who would later be adopted by the Mandalorians and become a pupil of Mandalore the Indomitable. It was during his time under Mandalore the Indomitable that Wirek would witness something that shocked him, the besting of the Mandalore by the rogue Jedi Ulic Qel-Droma. It was this event that sparked in Wirek an interest in Force powers and Jedi specifically. Following the besting of the Mandalore by the Jedi, Wirek stole a cloak from Ulic, seeking to study his genetics and understand the workings of the Force. However, his research was precluded and ultimately prevented by the start of the Great Sith War. Following the death of the Mandalore and the defeat of the Sith, Wirek decided it was time to abandon the Mandalorians, and left them for the Republic, where he hoped to begin his research. He would find a place at the Arcanian University, excelling as a student there, and doing quite well for himself and impressing his tutors, until all alien, that is, non-Arcanian students were expelled from the school. Following this setback, he would befriend the Arcanian offshoot community. At the same time, the cloak he took from Ulic Qel-Droma revealed something, the hair of Jedi Master Arca Jeth, who had died just prior to the Great Sith War. Armed with this genetic material, and an unknowing supply of volunteers for his experiments in the form of the Arcanian offshoot community, Wirek contacted his Mandalorian allies and formed a school on the planet of Asadia. Ostensibly, this was to give the Arcanian offshoots a place to continue their studies after being expelled from the Arcanian University. However, the reality of the school was far grimmer. He intended to use it to experiment on children and discern the secrets of the Force through genetics. His ultimate goal was to breed a new generation of Force-sensitive Mandalorians who would be able to stand up to Jedi and Sith alike, and form the core of a new Mandalorian crusade against the galaxy. Towards this goal, he began modifying children in vitro, in an attempt to infuse them with the Force. However, all his experiments failed. It was during this time that two things happened. First, he had a daughter named Shantique, and at the same time he began trading with the Crucible, a slaving organization, so that he could acquire further test subjects. Ultimately, Wirek's alliance with the Crucible would begin the downfall of his operations. First, when he traded his daughter Shantique to them because she had become too unruly for him to manage. And then, when the Crucible became greedy and decided they would capture the school on Osadia and use its subjects as slaves. The attack came while Wirek was away, giving a report on his experiments to the Mandalore. They destroyed the school and captured or killed anyone they found. This betrayal destroyed any chance Wirek had of continuing his research. Worse still, from his own perspective, his relationship to the Crucible had been exposed, and armed with the knowledge that he had been trading with children, both his Arcanian offshoot friends and his Mandalorian allies abandoned him, believing him to be a monster. His name now disgraced amongst his fellow Mandalorians, Wirek once more donned his armor, concealing his identity, and rejoined the Mandalorians on the eve of their newest crusade, calling himself Dr. Demagol. It was this name that history would remember as the Mandalore's mad scientist. Alright everyone, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, feel free to like and subscribe. There'll be more content coming. If you'd like to support the channel on Patreon, please do so. Every little bit helps. Until next time, this is your host Slade, and this has been Star Wars Did You Know?